Well, good morning. It's a gorgeous morning right now in the Red River Gorge in eastern Kentucky. I'm currently standing on Chimney Top Rock. If you're familiar with the gorge, you've probably been here. It's a pretty popular spot. I've been here a couple times before. It's a nice morning out there now, though, and I'm pretty excited to be here. Sunrise didn't work out so great because there's a little bit of low cloud cover, but it's not a big deal because down in the valleys from where I'm at, there's a lot of kind of mist hovering around. We had kind of an early morning, late night rain, and there's a lot of just nice little fog rolling through. Combine that with a little bit of the fall color that started to pop out, some reds and some yellows and some oranges. It's going to make for some pretty nice scenery this morning, I think. So I got up at about 5 o'clock this morning to make the drive up here. It's a little about 2 hours to get here. And then it's another 5 to 10 minutes to hike out. It's a super short trail, maybe a quarter mile, something like that. I think is what the sign said. But it's been worth it. It's a little bit chilly, but there's no rain. There's all kinds of just mood and atmosphere in these hills right now. And let's see if we can get some photography done. I keep looking over here because I just assume people are going to show up. Every time I've been here, there's been all kinds of people. I actually have to look out to myself right now. If I didn't, I wouldn't be recording this right now. That's for sure. So the things I'm currently shooting, I really hadn't even thought about. I've been here a couple times before, so I kind of had a decent idea of what I thought I might shoot. But this one isn't one that jumped out to me before because the time I was here last time, it was cold, it was frosty, there wasn't any mist whatsoever. Now the mist is kind of rolling around in the lower hollows, so it's really outlining the ridges. So to talk a little bit about the shot that I'm lining up, I'm really just including the first ridge that I see and every subsequent one, and a little bit of the skyline. There's not a whole lot of interest in the sky right now. It's just kind of blue clouds. That early morning cloud that's covering up the sun. But the rest of it, I believe, there's a lot of interest and mood in it. So just talk a little bit really quickly about settings. I'm going to be at ISO 100, a quarter of a second at f11. That's actually a little bit overexposed, and that's okay because I want bring a little bit more detail out of the shadows. I'm also going to punch in manual focus, just because I think that's a better way to do it. I trust my eye better than I do the autofocus in the camera for shots like these. If I'm hand holding, I'm going to be autofocusing though. So yeah, I think that shot turned out pretty nice indeed, at least to my eye. You zoom out a little bit, buddy. There you go. There's some really nice sunlight on the high clouds right now. It's kind of a shame that it's not hitting anything else just yet. So it's really places like this too where your telephoto lens really comes in handy. I use my 70 to 200 probably as much or more than my 24 to 70 wide angle lens. When you're really high up and your subject matter is really far away, that you can zoom in, get those details, and really just get a nice shot that you just couldn't get with a wide angle lens. So that's what I'm working on right now. I found another composition just over my left shoulder here. It's coming in between a couple of cliff faces, and there's some fog hovering over some trees. It's making for to me, a really interesting shot. So I'm going to line this shot up again with pretty much the same settings I had before. The clouds are actually breaking up over here, and there's some gorgeous blue sky and some really nice clouds illuminating with some sunlight. So I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes, see if those are going to break up a little bit more. It is only, what time is it? It is only 20 after 8 right now, so we've got plenty of time to hang around and see what's going on. But I still can't believe I'm here by myself. It's just me and old dude over here hanging out on the cliff across the valley from me. I'm not complaining, mind you. I'm not complaining at all. Oh, but here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. rapidly changing situation right there. 1 minute I was just sitting there waiting. Everything was in shadow. In about 30 seconds, the sun popped out from behind the clouds and everything was in really bright sunlight. And that really kind of worked out, because even though there was a lot of really bright sunlight, it provided a whole lot of contrast, and couple that with some of the remaining mist, it made for, I believe, some really nice shots. So I didn't get to record myself making those photos, because I was just running back and forth, changing lenses, looking for compositions, zooming in, zooming out, focusing. It was a pretty rushed operation, but I think I got some good shots, and I'll show them to you right now. So now I'm just on my way back to the car. It's still pretty early in the day, and there's a couple of nearby trails, at least one, that I'm going to check and just see what's on. Maybe nothing, maybe something good. No way to know until you try it. It's been a good morning. On a bit of a different trail now, heading to Princess Arch. You can go on the internet and search for Princess Arch, Red River Gorge. There's a ton of photos. So I think it's really kind of the low-hanging fruit of the gorge, easy to get to. But you know, I've barely been to the gorge. There's not very much, just hit a few trails. So pretty much everything is new to me right now. So that was Princess Arch. It was pretty cool. It's just a sandstone arch in the middle of the forest, which I guess is pretty regular here. There's a lot of arches here. Just photographically though, I took a photo, just a quick bracketed shot with the 90D, which is what I'm recording myself on now. The same lens I have on now, the 10 to 18. I'll throw it up here. I imagine, and I've seen some really good photographs of Princess Arch. That's not one of them, and that's okay. The conditions weren't quite right. The lighting wasn't really right. Maybe if I'd come back maybe in the evening or morning time when the light's a little bit better, but right now the light was just a little bit too harsh in the background for my taste anyway. I'd much prefer, for forest scenes like that, I much prefer more of a soft light, but that's just not what we got right now, and that's perfectly fine. The arch was pretty fantastic, I thought, so I just kind of sat there and took it in for a few minutes. Very bright. But that's another reason for me to take these kinds of trips like this, not just for the photographic opportunities, which, you know, from what I've seen in Red River Gorge are very plentiful, but also to just take in the nature of where I live here in Eastern Kentucky. So you saw this morning, it was really just a pretty fantastic morning for photography in my mind, and the conditions were changing, kept me on my toes. It was really good practice for me. So I think next what we're going to do, there's an area that I want to go. It's apparently a really well-traveled trail. It's called Rock Bridge. It's also here in the Daniel Boone National Forest. I don't know what's going to be there. I've seen, you know, give it a Google, you'll see all kinds of photos of it. I don't know right now, considering the conditions that we're at. I don't know exactly what we'll be able to get photographically, but we are going to give it a whirl. So that's a big fat change of plans. I was reading a little bit about the Rock Bridge Trail before I came out. And what I was reading about it was that it was a very well-traveled trail. That is proving to be the case today. I got out to the trail. The parking lot is plumb full. There was maybe a spot or two open. Kids running around everywhere. Parents pulling out coolers and putting stuff in them. Whatever you do with coolers on a hiking trip. And looks like they were about to have a merry old day, and God bless them. Passed for me though. So what I've done is I went back out the trail a little bit from the trailhead and found an off trail called 24B. I guess that's what it's called. There was a sign there that said 24B, and it just led me here to a little camping area where, well, it's a little clearing where people have camped before. The remnants of a fire. They've even been nice enough to leave a grill and a spatula. Well, if there's one thing I know, it's when to call it a day.